Pop it like a tango. Shawty understand, know you fucking with the mando. Fucking with the mando. Bust it like a tango. Fuck you think we stand for? Pop it like a tango. Back to looking man, that is not on the mando. It's sleeping on you. Bust it, pop it like a tango.
PARTYNEXTDOOR would-be-born Jerron Anthony Braithwaite in Mississauga, Ontario in Canada in July of 1993. His mother is Jamaican while his father is Trinidadian. This is one of the more interesting videos that I've ever done because Party hasn't really done a lot of interviews. He's not in the public eye much and uses the word private to describe himself. What we do know about Party is that when he first started making music, he was going under the name Jerron B. Jerron being his real name and B being the first initial of his real last name. Some of his musical inspirations are the likes of Boyz II Men, 112, R. Kelly, and Jodeci. In an interview, he said that he was one of those guys on MySpace who had one of those fake hit counters. He reached out to established producers and labels hoping to build a collective of like-minded creatives, but those who responded politely declined. This experience sparked the desire for him to learn how to produce his own beats, and he stuck to it. There's plenty of music from the Jerron B era online for those who are curious. One of my favorite songs from this era is Garden of Eden. Eventually, Party got discovered on MySpace by a manager and ended up leaving Mississauga at 17 for Los Angeles, California to make it big in the music industry. Party has said that nearly all of his living expenses at this time were paid for by this manager. His mother was giving him $50 every 2 weeks to pitch in on groceries. In his mind, he knew that he had to pay his mom back somehow, so he would pray every night. This is what drove him to succeed and get a record deal. The fact that Party was doing this at 17 is what surprises me. Being 17 and moving to a whole other country just to try to make it and to pursue your dreams. By 18, Party signed a publishing deal with Warner as a songwriter. During this time, he submitted songs to Justin Bieber to hopefully get them used, but unfortunately, none of these songs were ever recorded by him. This gig did not last long because songwriting for other people became too personal for Party. He did not want to sell his stories to other people. I said, just let me sing my songs and sign me as an artist, cause this is the only music I'm gonna make. I created my own world and you're going to have a hard time shopping this. Before getting more into the video though, I would quickly like to plug that I made a TikTok that you guys should definitely go follow. I'll be posting content on there. I'm trying to get that popping, so definitely go out and support that. And if you haven't already done it yet, go follow my Instagram too. That would be greatly appreciated. You guys can always reach out and just show me some love. It's all good. Definitely represent in the comments, especially if you're from Canada. Today is actually my birthday, #Jordan year, and I figured with the release of the new PND album, why not celebrate it by talking about the album and recapping Party's career. Back to the story though. Upon moving to LA, Party underwent a lifestyle change. Initially, he was very against smoking weed because he always wanted to be in control of himself, but his friend convinced him to smoke weed one day. As soon as he started smoking weed, this is when he started writing very personal material. An example of this is his song unofficially called Daughter from his Jaron B days. This song is described as a brutal letter to his unborn child that details a drug-fueled one-night stand that led to her conception.
This is a message from my daughter. I hope you're nothing like your mother. This is a message from your father. I hope you're nothing like your mother.
Party soon moved from LA to Miami, Florida, and his music began to reflect the recklessness of his lifestyle. He was still young and was living and partying in South Beach with the adults who formed his management's inner circle. Around this time, he took meetings with Jimmy Iovine, who I believe was still with Interscope Records because he did not leave Interscope Records until 2014. Party tried to pitch himself as a solo act. He did not want to write for other people anymore, so he showed music that he wrote and produced by himself that no one else could sing. He just wanted to sing his songs and for him to be signed as a solo artist. Party vowed that the deep personal music that we know him for making is the only music he was going to make, and that it was going to be hard to shop his music. Around this time, he also took up the name PARTYNEXTDOOR from a production filter in the Fruity Loops program. 2013 came around, and this is when his music would land in the hands of the OVO camp. OVO is a record label that was co-founded by Drake in 2012, which is the same year that he met Party in a studio in Toronto. Party's relationship with Boy Wonder, who has frequently collaborated with Drake, proved to be a great one. Boy Wonder would be introduced to Party through another producer named Jordan Evans. This then led to Boy Wonder sending Party's music to Oliver. Oliver was receiving these emails from an address he did not recognize. He thought that it was a random email, but upon listening to the music attached to these emails, he knew that he needed to hear more. He requested for this person to send him more music, and more music was sent. This ended up being Party's music, and this music eventually went on to be played for Oliver 40 and Drake, which they really liked. The first releases Party had under OVO would be the songs Make a Mill and Was Good Curious, which ended up being on his debut mixtape, which released a month later. Out of those two, I give the edge to Was Good Curious.
I'm ready. On you downtown, when I'm around town, I'm ready.
Drake and the official OVO Twitter account tweeted out Make a Mill and Was Good, which pretty much confirmed Party signing to the label. After reading numerous articles, it's clear from the jump that there has always been comparisons between The Weeknd and PARTYNEXTDOOR. A complex article from 2013 compares their vocal resemblance to one another and how Drake originally had a relationship with The Weeknd before he signed elsewhere. But whether you think this comparison to The Weeknd is fair or not, it is really up to you. Personally, I'm more of a fan of PARTYNEXTDOOR, but that's just me. Party's self-titled debut mixtape, or EP if you will, released in July of 2013. The entire project is written, sung, produced, and recorded by Party himself. It sold 2,000 copies in its first week, placing it at number 6 on the Billboard Heat Seekers albums chart and number 34 on the top R&B hip hop albums chart. Don't let these numbers fool you though, because this project went on to be huge for Party's career. Personally, I feel like this is one of, if not his best projects that he's ever made in my opinion. My favorite tracks off of this have to be Welcome to the Party, Right Now, TBH, and Was Good Curious. As we know, the big song that emerged from this project was Break from Toronto.
This what Saga feel like in the nighttime. Watch what she do when the light shine. Drunk niggas trying to talk in a strip club.
This is one of Party's most popular songs to date. As of 2022, the song is double platinum. Not that long after the project, Party joined Drake's tour Would You Like a Tour in support of his album Nothing Was the Same, which released in September of 2013. Speaking of this album, Party did background vocals for the songs Own It and Come Through. 2014 would be the year that PARTYNEXTDOOR fans ate good with the release of 2 projects. The first project to release was Party's debut album, PND-2, which released in July of 2014. The reviews on this album were mixed, but nonetheless, numbers-wise, Party improved, with this project selling almost 16,000 copies in its first week. It peaked at number 15 on the Billboard 200 chart and number 1 on the top R&B albums chart. There were 2 singles released for this album, with those being the songs Muse and Her Way. This album has some jams though, with my favorites being Sex on the Beach, Her Way, Belong to the City, Recognize, and Thirsty. Recognize featuring Drake would be the big song off of this album. This song is double platinum as well. This was the first time that Drake appeared on a PARTYNEXTDOOR project under OVO, and this definitely would not be the last. I think that it should be mentioned that outside of this song being a great song, it was a huge meme back in the day. I remember back in the day seeing Nowsy Nows, who's a Vine and YouTube legend, chuck up the deuces at the camera and disappear while the beginning of Recognize played in the background. In interviews, Party has talked about working with Drake and has said that he openly shares music with Drake, especially when it's time for him to make a project. He further describes it as 2 creatives cooking. If Drake sees something in a song of Party's that he feels that he can spin around and make better, Party thinks who is he to selfishly keep it. As a fan of music, he feels like that's wrong. An example of this would be the song 647, which ultimately became a reference track for Drake's 2015 song, Company, from his If You're Reading This Is Too Late mixtape.
I need a girl from the country. I need a girl from Kentucky. I need a shawty from Houston. I need a girl who gon' love me.
However, 2014 would not be over because in December of that year, PARTYNEXTDOOR released his 4-track EP titled Colors. 2015 swung by, and while this year we did not see a project from Party, he still worked and is credited on 3 songs on Drake's classic project If You're Reading This Is Too Late. The songs that Party is credited for is the songs Legend, Preach, and Wednesday Night Interlude. He featured on Preach, and Wednesday Night Interlude is all Party. He also produced Legend, Preach, and Wednesday Night Interlude. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Party said that Drake asked for Wednesday Night Interlude. He asked Drake if he was going to cut it from If You're Reading This Is Too Late, but Drake ended up putting it on the project. Although Party loves the fact that Drake put it on there and people heard it, he still wishes that he kept that song for his own personal album.
Lonely on a Wednesday night, girl, I'm lonely.
Personally, I think that Party should have kept the song because it's amazing, but hindsight is always 2020. The only other song that Party appeared on this year was the song Deserve It by Big Sean, which appeared on his album Dark Sky Paradise.
Tell me something that is gonna last, baby. I need something new. I need something new.
The year is now 2016, and behind the scenes, things started to get really messy. Party found himself in a love triangle with basketball player Kyrie Irving and fellow artist Kehlani. Previous to 2016, there were rumors that Party was dating Kehlani and even released the song Kehlani's Freestyle and Girl from Oakland. The two broke up, and in October of 2015, he renamed the song Kehlani's Freestyle to Things and Such. But things took a sharp left in 2016 when Kehlani confirmed her relationship with Kyrie Irving via a Valentine's Day post in February of that year. Everything seemed fine until a month later, Party posted a photo on Instagram essentially saying that after all of her shenanigans, he still got the R&B singer back in his bed. Although Party did not name anyone, the post heavily alluded to it being Kalani due to her hand being in the picture, and on the hand there's a tattoo that says woke. Kalani has that same tattoo. This post obviously caused a lot of drama because people did not know whether this picture was old and before Kalani's relationship with Kyrie, or she was cheating on Kyrie with Party. There was also the chance that she and Kyrie were no longer together. Kalani adamantly denied that she was a cheater, but an unfortunate chain of events followed this when it was revealed that Kalani tried to leave this world. She took to Instagram to shed some light on the situation and the whole love triangle thing. She also made a post on Instagram of Party next to her hospital bed, thanking him for saving her life. In interviews after this whole situation, Party said that he regretted how things went down. I look into people's eyes and I know they think I'm a bad guy. There's a lot of details that people don't know. I just hope people understand that was a year for me. And I hope everyone has a successful year, and I hope that's in the past. PARTYNEXTDOOR describes this whole year as being blue for him, and he thought that he could write a hit and he'll be rich, so he'll be happy. He thought that he would meet one of the most beautiful girls in the world, one of the most talented, and he'd be happy. However, this would not be the case because he was still unhappy after all of this. While Party's personal life was very rocky this year, musically he had a very big year. At the beginning of 2016, Rihanna released the song Work featuring Drake. This song topped the Billboard Hot 100 charts for 9 weeks. What some people might not know is that Party actually wrote this song for Rihanna.
Work, 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 she see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. Saw me put in work, 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 work.
In 2016, PARTYNEXTDOOR wanted to make more party songs, but it wasn't in him at this time. He further said that people mistake the song Work for being a party song when it isn't, because it's actually a breakup song. How the song came together was through Party meeting Rihanna in 2015 during a writing camp at her house. He did not know why he was there because he was surrounded by people who had already made hits. This relationship with Rihanna led to the creation of the song Work, which was not an immediate fit. Rihanna's label at this time did not really care for Caribbean music. Party and Drake thought about keeping the song for themselves or giving it to Alicia Keys. I'm not gonna lie, I cannot imagine Alicia Keys on this track at all, but that just might be me. After some convincing, Rihanna's team finally came around to her doing the song after she was singing it all around the house. She fought for the song and it ended up happening. This isn't the only Rihanna song that Party is credited for, because he's also credited on songs like Wild Thoughts and Sex With Me. His reference track for Wild Thoughts is available online.
Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow.
Months after the release of Work, PARTYNEXTDOOR released his first single for his sophomore studio album. This single would be the song Come and See Me, featuring Drake. It ended up peaking at number 55 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming PARTYNEXTDOOR's highest charting single as a leading artist at the time.
Come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me.
The song Not Nice became the second single for the album. It was released as a single in July of 2016 and peaked at number 82 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album PND-3 released in August of 2016, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard 200, selling 50,000 copies in its first week. With this album, we got a look into what Party was going through in 2016 with the crazy year that he had. With songs like Problems and Selfless, we got to see Party talk about his relationships in the past and how tumultuous they can be for someone. I would have to say my favorites from this album are Don't Run, Nobody, Only You, Come and See Me, and Not Nice. This tape was significant to Party because this album feels more like the blues in terms of feelings. He noted that at the time, it might have steered some people away because of this. The most important thing about this album is that he gained his mother as a listener of his music because his mother did not listen to his first few projects. Now after the release of this album, he got text from his mother with her saying that this is why she gave him $50 every few weeks. This was an album that she could be proud of. Also this year, it was announced that singer Jeremiah and Party were working on a joint project together called Late Night Party, but this never came to fruition. PARTYNEXTDOOR started out 2017 with his appearance on Zayn's song Still Got Time, which ended up peaking at number 66 on the Billboard Hot 100. This song was released as a single in March of 2017. Months later, in June of 2017, is when Party dropped his surprise EP, Colors 2. It would be revealed through interviews that this EP was recorded in just 5 days. Visuals would also come with this project as well. Peace of Mind is the highlight of this project for me.
All I wanna do is lay up with you all day.
Just 3 months later, Party released another EP. This was titled 7 Days and it released in September of that year. The EP is true to its title because the project contained 7 songs that were made in 7 days. This EP would be a complete surprise to fans. While we're talking about 2017, Party first announced his now scrapped project, Club Atlantis. In the summer of that year, a billboard appeared in Toronto teasing a studio album from Party called Club Atlantis. Months then went by, and after the release of 7 Days, Party provided an update on the album. He said that he was taking his time and that it would be straight Party and unapologetic. Unfortunately for fans, we never got this album, but the leaks from this scrapped album are insane. It definitely would have been great if it ever released. One of my favorite songs that was potentially going to appear on the album is Questions.
You made me question things I shouldn't be questioning. Got every girl in the world to move on to. I got a reason to, but I don't even want. You got a hold on me. You got a hold on me. Some call.
As I said, 2017 was a year that PARTYNEXTDOOR dropped 2 projects, but ultimately he would not drop another project for 3 years after this. Throughout this 3-year period, Party was not completely gone and dropped music here and there and appeared on some songs. Notably, he appeared on Kanye's album Ye in 2018, being the only feature for that album. But other than Ye, out of this 3-year period, PARTYNEXTDOOR appeared on songs with people like Tory Lanez, Neo, Future, Summer Walker, French Montana, Lil Durk, and the list goes on. Like I said at the beginning of the video, fans of Party would already know that he rarely does interviews and uses the word private to describe himself. He has said that he just doesn't want to live in a fantasy where he acts like everybody cares and then he looks stupid with someone filming him in an airport. On top of rarely doing interviews, he's rarely on social media. Throughout the years, there have also been rumors of Party allegedly having tension with Drake, but I've also seen people say that the issues are more towards other people that are a part of the OVO camp. An example of this is when Party tweeted out that he had one more album left and then he was going to tell us what it was like. That really wasn't specific, but people speculated on the meaning of this tweet. This was in November of 2020, so this was after PartyMOBILE. But going back a little bit, in December of 2019, Party released 2 songs which were Loyal featuring Drake and The News. These would be the 2 leading singles for his next album at the time. Loyal peaked at number 60 on the Billboard Hot 100, while The News did not chart. PartyMOBILE ended up being a project that Party was really excited about and said that he hadn't felt that excited at the time since his first project. The album released in March of 2020, peaking at number 8 on the Billboard 200, selling 50,000 copies in its first week. My favorites from this are probably Believe It, Savage Anthem, and The News. Eye on It is definitely one of my favorites by far. A song that managed to do really well on the charts from this album was the song Believe It with Rihanna. Rihanna being on the song, especially at this time with her rarely doing music, pretty much solidified that this song was going to be a hit. The song peaked at number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. As of 2021, Believe It is platinum. The year would not be over because Party dropped PartyPack in October of that year, which is essentially an EP of non-officially released songs to that point. The dates from these songs range from 2013 to 2016, with Party finally releasing one of his most popular unreleased tracks, Persian Rugs.
Party, I don't just wanna chill with you.
The song other than this that I really mess with off of this project is West District. That song is bananas. This project was for the Day One fans because they now have these non-officially released songs finally on DSPs. The fans would not have to wait much longer for more songs that were previously not on DSPs. In January of 2021, Party dropped an 8-track project which was a compilation of the tracks that were on the first two Colors projects. After this, PARTYNEXTDOOR would not drop music for a while. It wouldn't be until late December of 2022 when Party returned with a feature on the Diddy song Sex in the Porsche. Just a month later, in January of 2023, Party released his own song called Her Old Friends. Around this time is when he started to make public appearances again, and fans noticed that he was bigger than the last time that they saw him. Party's weight has always been a topic of conversation ever since people saw the old photos of him when he was big. When the masses were introduced to him, he was smaller, so when people saw the old photos of him, it led to a lot of people ragging on him. From what I know, what led to his weight loss was his adoption of the paleo diet. From what I've seen, this is described as a caveman diet. He only ate things based on the types of foods presumed to have been eaten by early humans, consisting mostly of meat, fish, vegetables, and fruit. This excluded dairy and processed foods. But aside from the weight thing, fans thought that the release of 2 new singles meant that an album was on the way. Well, in July of 2023, Party released the song Resentment. This year, Party has released 2 singles with the songs Real Woman and Lose My Mind. I remember when I first saw the cover art for P4 when I was scrolling through Instagram, and I could not believe what I was seeing. In my mind, I was like, this is Instagram, not Twitter? Like, I didn't know what I was looking at, but I was really hyped for the album, especially when I found out that it was releasing on my birthday. I always try to drop a video on my birthday every year, and I thought, why not redo this video and talk about the album? Alright, this is Future Dre talking. It's currently past midnight and I'm recording this last part on my actual birthday, April 26th. Very early in the morning when I should be sleeping, but I love you guys and the grind don't stop. Anyways, I just listened to the entire P4 album and I enjoyed it off of the first listen. Unfortunately, my AirPods are dead, so I had to play it off of my laptop, but throughout the next couple of days, I'll definitely listen to the album on my AirPods and also bump it in the car. The first 3 tracks on the album is the best stretch of the album in my opinion, and I was really loving the production throughout the album. My favorite song from P4 has to be Lose My Mind. That DMX sample is tough. My only real complaint about the album is that not a lot of songs made my playlist off of the first listen. I don't think this album really has any skips, but although I felt like the songs were good, there wasn't a lot of songs that stuck out to me as being the one. For instance, on Party's last album, PartyMOBILE, off of the first listen, I fell in love with songs like Eye on It, Turn Up, The News, Savage Anthem, etc. Like I said, I like the first 3 songs on P4, but at the moment, I feel like Lose My Mind is the only playlist-worthy song of the bunch. This could definitely change with time though. Like I said, this is only off of the first listen. Maybe my opinion will change over time and by listening with my AirPods and or in the car. Let me know down in the comments what your initial reactions to the album is. I would more than love to hear what you guys have to say.
Hop out of the Porsche, I'm in your crib.
PARTYNEXTDOOR is a man who I feel like although he's popular, he still doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He's one of the best artists out there right now, but I feel like due to his low-key nature, he isn't mentioned much until he pops up with music. His discography is amazing and he's very talented. He can write, sing, and produce music. I think we all know that if he was more social, he could be way more famous than he already is, but to each their own. I think that he's managed to have a huge impact on the game. I mean, he heavily influenced many artists, but the biggest artist that people say that Party influenced was Drake. To sweeten the pot, he not only influenced Drake, he influenced Drake during what many people consider to be the prime of his career. Some people might joke about Party being in the infamous OVO sweatshop, which I always chuckle at that name. Like, that name is just so ridiculous but hilarious at the same time. Party is by far the most successful artist to ever sign to OVO, and it's made fans wonder if Party being on the label has helped or hindered him. Fans have wondered what if Party kept a lot of his ideas instead of giving them to bigger artists. The world may never know. Party has still managed to have a real good career. He has classic projects, a #1 song, and millions of fans worldwide. Let's enjoy this new album for a minute, but I do hope that we do not have to wait another 4 years for the next album. All in all, let me know in the comments what you think about PARTYNEXTDOOR and his career. I love you guys with all my heart. Peace.